Wired access.
We'll do it live.
Wired access.
Do it live.
Wired access.
We'll do it live.
Wired access.
Welcome to Wired Access Podcast, where I'm your host, DJ K-Dub Omaha, and we're part of the Hurrdat Sports production. Remember, the Omaha Supernovas are still playing strong, and we have a couple of games coming up. You have April 13th. They are on the road, but don't worry, Saturday, April 20th, they're back home at the CHI Center. You can get those tickets at omahasupernovas.com. Be a part of this excitement of pro volleyball in the state that is hosting the first semis and championship for the Pro Volleyball Federation down at the CHI Center. Check them out, omahasupernovas.com. Today, speaking of new things and new adventures, to my left, I have Brian Locke, who is the head coach of the CB Captains Football Club. And to his left is the COO, Adrian Ramiro. Welcome, fellas. Soccer in Omaha, to me, is just getting as exciting as volleyball is. You guys are bringing something just across the bridge. But, Brian, your relationship with the area in soccer has been around for a while. Your dad was a coach, was a part of the Bellevue Soccer Club back in the day, before I believe Bellevue University pretty much took it over as far as like coaching and running and letting those guys kind of give back to the community. They're coming from all across the world. And then Adrian, I've met you before back over 10 years ago when we were DJing together. Correct. It's been some time. I didn't even know you were going to be here, but this is awesome. I like that setting. Brian, you're also the head coach for Bellevue East High School. So you got a lot of forks in the fire. You've done the Omaha Kings. They have came up. They are happening. I think the Union Omaha getting their own stadium just turns that flame and just excites everybody in the area to know that there's opportunity to play soccer at multiple levels. How far do you want to take it, and what's your thoughts and your chances? But let's start even just where like you grew up in soccer. It's been a part of your life forever. What is your constant feel that you've got to stay attached to it in one way or the other?
Yeah, I mean, first off, thanks for having us. I mean, this is beyond an honor to be here with you. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I've played soccer since 3 years old. It was a staple of my life. Moved to Bellevue in 95, 96. Like you said, my dad coached at Bellevue Soccer Club. Yeah, I don't know. Soccer's always been a part of life. It's always one of those staples that, it keeps you grounded. You get to go to competition, test yourself, go out, practice, and then, jump back into a competition to test yourself again. Yeah, so with the captains, it's, like you said, it's offering that chance to other players, to reach that next level, to keep participating at a high level of competition.
And for those that don't know, they'll be a part of the United Premier Soccer League, which if you look at like the way the triangle as they have it, yes. It goes, what's at the very top? Remind me here, because MLS. Then there's SemiPro, and then you guys are amateurs. So you guys are, and then there's one below that. Am I correct on kind of the tower ranking?
Yeah. So UPSL would be fourth tier. USL 1. Yeah. Union is third tier, and then there's amateur, which would be like your college, and then your local competitive.
Okay. So when it comes to taking your knowledge of what you've already seen and what you've done, what's the thing that attracts, or what even made the CB Captains come around? What was the idea? What was the push behind that?
Yeah, I think that's a better question for Adrian.
So myself and the president, who unfortunately isn't here right now, Taylor, came up to me. He used to run a pro team here called United Omaha. What was it? Omaha something. So anyways, long story short, he came up to me with the idea. He's like, hey, I want to start a pro team. Do you want to help me? And obviously, like myself, I know I've been in soccer for a while now. I mean, my dad used to play pro here with the Omaha Flames back in '98 when they had the Exarban
Oh man, the exorbitant
stadium. So and then he also played in the reserves in Cruz Azul professionally in Mexico. So he taught me, and I coach for youth Raptors for a youth club named Raptors. So that's how I got involved. Obviously, I know Taylor since growing up together, we played for a bit. Then he's like, "Hey, who do you have is the next best coach, or the next best thing here?" Obviously, Brian came into mind because obviously he's got the knowledge, he's got the professional experience from the Kings. So that's why we brought Brian aboard. But the whole idea is to bring a professional team here, not just Union, but in Council Bluffs too, because we noticed that in Omaha in general, there's potential. There's a lot of potential, untapped potential. Just for example, when we announced tryouts, we already had people hitting us up. When, where, what. We didn't even have that the info just yet, and people were already hitting us up. But long story short, more of the story is the potential's here, and we're trying to expand from the potential that's here.
So when you think of next level opportunity, how do you distinguish for people to decide? So, and I bring this up because, of course, right now you got club is a big thing, right?
Mhm.
Travel soccer. You have some players that won't play for the high school because they want to play travel soccer. How do you distinguish from getting players to, one, if they want their education, they could still do that, or two, they have to come your route? Is there a difference between that? Can they still play for the CB captains if they were still at a university? Is there any regulations on that? The reason I ask is because semi-pro, or you guys are amateurs, but semi-pro has been something around here a lot. There's been a lot of football teams in and out. That's actually where I started coaching back, 14 years ago. But, that's where I started. So then, like, to see these things come up, it's like, okay, how do these kids understand where or what they can play in and still be able to either get an education, or do they have to stick with the school?
Yeah, and you hit it on the head. I mean, semi-pro itself is still considered amateur level. For those players that want to go to college, want to go to the university and play ball, they can. So we'll run 2 seasons. We're starting our inaugural season in the fall. We'll play again in the spring. Of course, anyone that's playing ball at college, right, they'll play ball in the fall with the college. Come springtime, they can come try out and join the captains at that point. Rules-wise, the basic way to state it is, as long as you're not getting paid to play, you still have your college eligibility.
Now, with the NIL, does that change it? See, I'm pretty sure there's some things that people like. I've had a couple people on about the NIL. I think it's so cloudy and so much unknown that I think obviously these are things, especially for you being the COO, that you really want to make sure have that information ready, available for these players, because if they can still attend and still do what they want, it just makes it more. I want to be a part of that team. And obviously Omaha, we've had you had one kid from South Omaha. He did not play for Omaha South, for anybody that thought he did. No, he did not play for Omaha South. Went and played for the KC Sporting. You see 18-year-old kids get the opportunity from here to get to the MLS. This has to be a spot to say, hey, we could be a stepping stone for that opportunity. What's the message that you feel like you guys bring to the table for them?
Yeah, and ultimately that's the goal. I mean, with our level, I mean, it's not our goal is to transform them to be ready to go to the next level, whether it be Union Omaha, USL 1, what's the next one above that? MLS Next, Pro, or jumping up into the MLS. UPSL has track record of sending players to higher levels. There was a young player that just got signed to Man City. Don't know to what level.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe to their academy. That's a massive jump from UPSL to a Premier League academy team. Exactly. That's massive.
Yeah, and those opportunities, that helps a lot.
Yeah, and it's exposure.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't. You're not going to jump from the local club level playing club ball,
or the pickup Wednesday games.
Pickup Wednesday games. I'm playing over 40s on Tuesday. I'm not getting a contract. I'm not going anywhere after that.
Where are you guys playing at, and what's kind of the level of dedication from where you guys are playing? I always feel sometimes locking down a field, locking down the opportunity is one of the hardest things in this state and across the way. And that's why people like for baseball, they go to Des Moines to play when they play in big tournaments. Why? There's so many fields. There's so much opportunity. They go to Kansas City. They don't come to Omaha. What do you guys have, and where are you guys hoping to find that?
Yeah, field wise, I think that's a question for Adrian.
Well, field wise, we literally just got done speaking to the mayor.
Yeah.
Actually, he's the Council Bluffs mayor, by the way. So he's gonna help us out. He's gonna find us a home field. But right now, I think it was a high school.
St. Albert's,
St. Albert's
the main one
Council
in the
Bluffs
talks.
is going to be the main one where we're going to be our home games and practice. It looks like Norris Middle School because that's where we're going to have our tryouts as well at Norris. But yeah, that's where we're going to be at St. Albert's because according to word of mouth, it's the nicest place that they have in Council Bluffs.
Okay, and then when you think of the name CB Captains, where did all that come from? What made you guys go with Council Bluffs, not Omaha? What's kind of that whole part of the thinking of it?
Yeah, I think I can answer that as well.
That's all right. That's what we're here for.
So yeah, obviously Omaha already has Union. They already have the Kings. Omaha has indoor outdoor. Council Bluffs doesn't have anything, but we can bring talent from Omaha to Council Bluffs. And people always drive to the Sportsplex to play at Council Bluffs. So we decided on Council Bluffs because it's, across the street, across the river. And then the town's still within the area that we're looking at. And then captains, we just wanted something relevant with the Reavers. Because obviously when you look at the Reavers, it's like, oh, you look at their logo, it's like, oh, okay, so it's like a pirate. We'll just call ourselves the captains. But also the captains because, he's the head of the ship. He's the boss.
Okay. I like that. Brian, what intrigued you to make a switch? Obviously, you're still doing high school soccer. Who knows where that will take you? What makes you want to go to back up to the next level? Obviously, you were a part of the Kings. You were playing though too, right? Or you were just coaching?
For the Kings?
Yeah.
No, I was only coaching.
Only coaching. Yeah. Okay. So is it just that fever to continue to grow for you?
It is. It very much is. I mean, my end goal is to make a career of coaching. I've been blessed. I got to give all credit to my wife, Becky, to allow me to pursue this dream. But yeah, I mean, the goal is to make this a career path. When she decides to retire, then all right, we're on my salary and we're doing, the coaching gig full time. Jumping up to this level. I mean, you asked it a little bit earlier, what's the dedication we're looking for? That's why I want to get back to this level. The dedication at this level is much higher. Practice 3 days a week, but the players are doing something on their own every single day, that we don't have a structured practice.
So I've just kind of gotten recently locked in with the Omaha Beef here locally, thanks to Hurrdat Sports. So I'm kind of seeing how that stuff works. When you look at local teams like themselves who have been here, they're celebrating 25 years. Yeah. Lancers, been here for a while. That's the in between college and high school, where people are like, there's in between college and high school. Yes, these kids sometimes have to play that extra year before they get to that level. Where would you kind of see your guys' rankings between, are you looking for college athletes? Are you looking for guys just out of college? What's kind of that realm of age, experience, and stuff that you're thinking of?
Yeah, great question. I mean, generally saying, I would say anyone 18 plus. There's some players that don't want to go to college. Giving them that opportunity to say, okay, I can still play at a high level. I have a job lined up, but I can still play. I don't have to go to college and cure that debt. I was an example. I didn't want to go to college coming out of high school. I went and played one soccer season, went to each class once, left with that debt. Great experience, would do it again if I had the choice, but to have that opportunity to say, yes, you are a quality player, your next step doesn't have to be college. You can still come play at a high competitive level.
Adrian, as far as trying to bring in people from possibly around here, are you guys looking for host families? Are you looking for, how are you going to help if someone isn't staying here? How do they help to get a place here? I ask that because that's part of the Omaha Beef. Not all the players live here. So the owner obviously has to go in that realm. Have you guys looked at that part of the task, and what all have you guys thought of that part of it?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a Taylor question. That's the guy that runs the show. But I honestly don't have an answer for that one. But that's a very good question. Taylor would be able to answer.
Just some things to kind of think about. I guess for me, it's passing the knowledge book, right? That's what I love about the interviews that we do is nothing scripted. I don't have questions sitting in the back pocket that are like, gosh, I got to ask these. But also, there's a lot that I've learned in these past couple weeks, the sponsorships, the stuff like that it takes. So can you speak on the sponsorships of like what you guys need, what you might look for? Have you already kind of started to line some of those up?
Yeah, so right now we just closed the deal, a contract with Evans Custom Apparel, which they're down the street.
Nice.
They're going to do our home jerseys, our tryout jerseys. And I known Matt, he's the owner. I known Matt for, I want to say 4 years now, because he does our youth soccer jerseys. So right now we are looking for sponsors as well. I know we're talking to Edwards in Council Bluffs because we do need more sponsors and regarding that to go on the jerseys. But other than that, when it comes to sponsorship stuff, we're looking for anybody that's willing to help us get to where we need to. Pretty much, if they want to put their name out there and be a part of this, be a part of the UPSL. But other than that, I mean, the door's open.
There we go.
Open for anybody who's local. We
Brian,
appreciate that.
You've, of course, had some experience with all this. What do you feel, besides the coaching part, that you're able to help with the team? Are you able to share, not with me, it doesn't have to be, but do you feel like there's a lot that you've learned through the different programs that you've been, of some successful things, some things of, okay, we got to kind of stay away from those things? What's your thoughts on that through your years?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one for me is it's bigger than the sport. It's, yes, we want the result, we want to win, but at the end of the day, you're not remembered for your record.
Yeah.
I mean, I can coach for 20 years and win 20 championships, but what's going to be remembered is how you interact with each individual player. Do I show that I care about them, right? If they're going through something personally, am I there to be able to communicate, to help them through that? Biggest one I can think of with the Kings, I had something going on. I called the whole team in and said, guys, I always tell you to come talk to me if you got something going on. I have something that I need to share with you. And it changes the whole team dynamic. It's, again, we're there for the result, but
still family.
You're a family.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're a family. And it starts with the leadership, the coaches. If we're not there for them, or if we're not sharing what we have going on, they're never going to share with us.
Coaching staff, how does that look, and how is that still developing?
Yeah, for right now, it's just me for coaching staff. Bare bones, first year. Adrian will definitely be there to assist me, when it's needed, when it's necessary. If I can find others that want to volunteer, that have experience, I would be more than happy to have them on board as well.
I think the best part of things like this is if the backing starts coming through and they feel the legitness, right? It's you got to feel like everything's moving in the wheel, and when the wheel starts turning in the right direction, people want to jump on. It doesn't mean it's always going to happen quickly. When you look at your support staff around you, obviously your dad has shown you the way of how, if you put your mind to it, you put your head to the grind. What do you think is your biggest thing that you could take to the team? And what's the biggest thing that you're going to hopefully get from the team to kind of even progress yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that to show to the team is patience. It's a new project. It's not, like you just said, it's not going to be growth straight up. I mean, growth itself isn't linear. There's dips, there's declines. Yeah, I mean, patience is the biggest one for a project like this.
When you look at the UPSL, do they have, what's the closest team to this area? Because I think there's over 200 teams that are a part of it, I believe. And is it broken down in like different regions, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you guys will be a part of which region? Do you know yet?
We not 100% sure yet. I believe they're waiting to confirm a couple other new teams.
Yeah.
Okay.
South Dakota, Iowa, Kansas. I don't know if they're building a new conference.
That's
a lot going there.
Yeah,
no, that's okay.
It's a lot of time to the fall.
Yeah.
Because of course
that's where it's, yeah. That's where the patience comes
That's
in.
where Nebraska's different than other places,
Yeah.
right? You can play most of the year, but you're not going to have the same play that a Texas team has, the same play as Florida team had. What do you think will drive you guys to be able to have the opportunity and still be able to be out there to perform with the weather, even just the weather difference compared to some of your competitors?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we're gonna find out. No, I mean it is. I mean we're gonna find out which players have the grit to show up for a 35-degree temperature practice.
Yeah.
I mean it's really gonna come down to that.
Now, is there any part of recruiting that you're looking to do? Have you been out to some of the I mean, obviously there is some regular teams that play that are some pretty good competition teams. Have you guys been out talking to some players? Is there some people that you've already kind of had in mind that have kind of wanted to jump possibly on board if the opportunity gets presented to them?
Yeah, I've been in contact with a couple players I know that either used to play with the Kings or, played at a high level before and just aren't really playing. Maybe they're playing the Monday indoor leagues or the Wednesday. We've been out to the Sunday morning league games at one of the indoor complex, chat with players. Hey, this is the project we're building. We know what you're capable of. Would you be interested in? Like Adrian touched on, as soon as we announced it, I had a handful of college coaches reach out. Hey, what's this about? When are you starting? What are you looking for? Telling them we're starting in the fall. They're like, all right, here's a list of our seniors. How can they get a hold of you? So the interest is growing right from day one.
That's awesome to hear, because word of mouth is what you get, but also you have the experience. Who do you think is your biggest connection so far for yourself in your coaching career that will obviously help kind of give you an idea of what it has taken to get to like the levels of like the Kings and the level of obviously our local Union, like having that support and having the people around you?
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it earlier. My dad is a huge one. He has the coaching experience in the college level. I constantly go back and chat with him about things. He'll sit in the stands at the high school games. He'll watch.
Is he coming out of retirement?
No. I joke with him about it. He's like, no, I'm done coaching it. No. Yeah, I mean, he's my biggest one that I go back to seek advice, chat through things, stuff like that.
Now, you think back to your playing days, how much of that still impacts what you're wanting to do with the teams that you're coming up? Because there is a lack in some areas around here for soccer in general. There's just not enough talk about it. There's not enough push about it in certain areas. What is some of the things you experienced growing up that you feel like you can show these people that, because like you said, you went to a college for a couple classes just to get up and out of there.
So he said he went.
I went to, I think I went to the first day of each class. And it was,
you know what I mean? Like, and obviously you got to present to these players that here's something that's, not talked about.
Yeah, no. And that's, I mean, me as a player, I was that player. I was talented. I played. I didn't give my fullest. I was there. I went through practice, right? I wasn't fully invested. So to be able to walk away with that experience as a player to then, all right, what does it mean to be fully invested? Are you showing up to practice just to go through the motions, or are you doing it to get better?
Like that. For you, Adrian, when you look at just your position as COO, what is the number one thing you think you have to bring to the table for the captains, and that they're really going to look to you for?
What I think I can bring, and usually is connections, like stated earlier, because word of mouth is key. I know a lot of people. Like I said, I coached soccer for 10 plus years. My dad used to play here. He knows everybody in the soccer community. But connections at the end of the day, because we already got, I do all the translating for our Spanish stuff. So we can go to South though. I'll, promote it, talk to anybody. I know the owner of Jacobo, so I can put, our flyers there. I know the owner of Las Hueras, I can put flyers there. So pretty much at the end of the day is that extra connection for the Spanish side. That
For the
we don't-
community.
yeah, for the community in South O, or what doesn't get covered as much, like Union or the Kings. But that's one thing I can definitely bring and try to bring to the club. Yes.
How important is it the success of the Kings and the Union will help lead you guys to hopefully find the success that they have?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
I mean, I would
That's a good
think
question.
I would think
Very good
I would
question.
hate to start something if I didn't see something around me happen before me. So I got to take the good from them, but I also got to figure out, okay, what makes them so good? I mean, the Union went and beat 3 MLS teams. I mean, that cup game is huge. I mean, and obviously we're going to have the World Cup. So you got this all going on. We're going to have World Cup between Mexico, United States, and Canada. That just brings up the talk of soccer and like, I mean, I already got my workers that work for me. Like, we're looking to get tickets to go to Kansas City and check. I would hate to miss the World Cup. So you're seeing all that grow around you. How important is that to kind of hone in into what's going good for soccer?
Oh yeah, that's very important. I mean, that just makes you just want to like boost your own level and push yourself even further, because, like you said, it's the World Cup.
Yeah.
You can't top that.
No.
You can't.
No.
Not the Super Bowl. Nothing.
No.
It's the World Cup. So that's why you got to give it your best. I think you always have to give it your best, and I think if we give it our best, obviously with growth, there's failures. With failures, there's opportunities to learn and growth. So I honestly think if we just put our minds into it, our efforts into it, and all our hard work and dedication, I think we can make something special out of this. Like the mayor said, he's looking forward to seeing what we're bringing to the table. And from my own, goal is I just want to see the team succeed. I want to see us grow, just like our neighbors, Union and the Kings.
All right. Well, Brian, when you think of all these years of soccer, what did you ever think of having to start over again? And have you thought that was kind of the way that it would go with each step? Or did
Yeah.
you feel like you could make it a home? I mean, your dad was at the Bellevue Soccer Club for a long
Yeah.
time. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you've seen where it's been there.
Yeah.
But I think in this day and age, just like the transfer portal and all that, nothing is guaranteed that people are going to stay for 20 years. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, I mean the coaching world itself. I mean, it's rare for a coach to be in one position for more than 2 or 3 years. I mean, you look at most Premier League coaches; they're there for 2, 3, 4 year stints, and then they're going to a different country to coach. I don't have the traditional coaching career path. I have put it on hold so we don't have to move. Right, I've had opportunities to go to other states to coach. I grew up as a kid. I grew up moving all the time.
Me too.
I didn't want to give
Air
my
Force
kid,
brat.
right? I was a Navy kid, so it was like I didn't want to give my kids that life. So, I mean, I've been blessed with the opportunities I have had to be coaching, at a variety of levels, but still in the Omaha area. Yeah, there's been gaps in the coaching, but with family first.
Yeah.
I wanted to give the kids that stability of, hey, we're not having to move every 2 to 3, 4 years. So just personal choices.
And it's not easy choices either. It's ones that, sometimes you got to look in the mirror. You got to go, where am I at in life? Where do I want to be? But I'm just like you. I didn't want to move my kids. We drove to their elementary that was miles away because I was an Air Force brat. We moved every 2 to 3 years. And when you know that side of life, obviously around here, ethnicity is huge. You got to be able to connect with them all. We have players at Bellevue University who are from the Europe side, and you got obviously South Omaha from the Latino side. How do you feel like you can really intermingle the culture and bring in the culture to Council Bluffs when it comes to soccer?
Yeah, it's going back to that, the other question of, it's family. I like to get to know each player. I like to get to know their cultures and, you know, food is always the
Food is key.
Food always brings people together.
It does.
You know, so what can we do to, you know, hey, everybody brings their dish. You know, let's learn about each other's cultures, and then that just brings the team closer together.
Adrian, for you, obviously, you have to adapt to make sure that if you're touching the bases of all these cultures, you do it now for, like you said, the Raptors. What is the Raptors located centrally to where you primary get a lot of us of Latinos that are on your team, or do you guys able to branch out and get anywhere and anything you want?
No, so we get a little bit of everything. I mean, I have some kids that live in Millard and they drive all the way to South Oak to practice. I have a couple refugee families as well from Pakistan.
Ooh,
so I kind of
nice.
know what it takes. And this goes back to Brian. You just have to learn your player, learn where they're coming from, learn their struggles, learn their history, you know, you may say. Because at the end of the day, it's all a melting pot to make this team succeed. Because if we don't succeed together, then, you know, we're going to fail.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, no, yeah. It's soccer. It's football. It's the beautiful game is what they call it. And that brings us all together. I mean, globally, it's the sport. It
is a global sport.
And I think that's what brings us all together because we love the game.
Yeah. Taylor, what is his position? How did you guys get connected with him? Were you a part with him already, friends with him? Did they just find you because of him? How this whole three get together?
Yeah, so I known Taylor, like I said, I played with him a couple times, but he was just my friend. Other than that, I mean, he brought up the idea, and then from there we're like, let's try to make it work.
I gotcha.
Let's try.
And as far as running a program, what all do you do for the Raptors? Do you have like a hand in the actual organization to where you can kind of take some of those behind the soccer ball thing, you know what I'm saying? Like off the soccer field things to bring them to what you guys want to do with the captains?
Yeah, actually, I'm the owner. I'm the president of the Raptors. So pretty much, long story short, my dad started the Raptors because he couldn't afford club fees for my youngest brother. I mean, club fees are kind of pricey.
Yes.
And he couldn't afford it. He couldn't afford to pay for it. So obviously, with his knowledge at Cruz Azul in Mexico, because he was in the reserve team already professionally, he's like, I'll just start my own club. I'll start my own club. So he started his own club. Obviously, you know, played with the Omaha Flames in Oxarben. Has been, you know, unfortunately, he passed away because of cancer. But then, you know, I took over the club, and now we're slowly expanding again. We have 3 youth teams right now. Now we're working with Adidas close. So now we're franchising and moving. For example, my nephew, he's going to Chicago Fire in June because he's doing some tryout thing or whatever they got going on. We're also working with Sporting and pretty much Minnesota. So pretty much the local, well, I don't want to say local, but
they are local, right?
Yeah, the 3 closest states that we have, we work with them. So now we have this program where I send youth players to go try out.
Branding.
Yeah.
What have you guys, obviously, branding becomes huge when you know, maybe not at the beginning, but as you grow. Adidas is obviously your hugest go-to, but is it easy for a team that's coming up like yourself to get those connections? Is it stuff that you've already worked in from the Raptors or from previous?
Well, that's one thing. I mean, you just honestly, when it comes to that, you just got to call their sales rep. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. You literally just call their sales rep. Their sales rep talks to you. Hey, I may have this opportunity. I may not. So it just depends on the sales representative or what they got going on, what the brand has going on. That's usually how that works.
Okay. All right. Brian, you're finishing up high school. Your son's finishing up high school with it as well. What does this season mean to you, even just to finish that up and still be able to control the tryouts, putting all that together? Have you kind of pieced yourself in all that?
Yeah, so we scheduled it correctly to where tryouts will basically be about a week after the high school season ends. So I've been blessed that Adrian and Taylor have allowed me some say on scheduling. So it's nice. No, the high school season, it's great. Like you said, my son is a senior at the school I'm coaching at. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Coaching your own son,
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
No matter how good you are as a coach or how much you've experienced as a coach, they don't want to hear it from you. They want to hear it from everybody else. If I came in and said the same thing you said, he would agree with what I say, but not what you say. When you look at like the player style, what's one of the biggest things that you would probably look for?
You said as a player style?
Yeah, because what I mean by that is like the dedication from people is not always easy to determine right away, right?
Yeah.
And how, like, what's some of the things that you think you can
So my go-to when I'm running tryouts or I'm looking for players, my top 3 is attitude, work rate, and then skills. In that order. I mean, attitude's the biggest thing. How do you respond to mistakes? How do you respond to your own mistakes? You dropping your head or you just moving on? How do you respond to other players' mistakes? Again, same thing. The attitude ultimately at the end of the day decides everything. How are we going to respond to what's going on around us? Work rate, or are we doing what we're supposed to do at the time we're supposed to do it? Or are we just sitting there watching? So I think those two you can tell pretty quickly. Okay, maybe they had an off day. That's why we have 2 or 3 days of tryouts, right? We'll give you grace on the first day. You do the same thing the second day. All right, you've kind of shown us who you are. So yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the third one, skills. I mean, skills is something we can teach. I mean, that's one of the more coachable aspects of, those.
You can have some, but we can make it even better.
You can have some, but we can make them better. Yeah.
When you look at the tryouts, if I'm coming, is it one of those where every day, if someone doesn't kind of make your criteria, are you guys going to be honest, or is it go all days and we'll let you know at the end? What's the biggest thing there?
Day one, if we see someone's like not keeping up with the pack, then yeah, we'll probably cut them day one. If we see someone that, yeah, they show promise, I'll go talk to them. Like, get to know them a little bit better at that point. Maybe they had a bad day one. A lot of people have nerves at tryouts that they can't overcome on day one. You're also in a group of how many people, right? If we're playing full 11v11 scrimmage, you're probably with 10 other players you've never played with before. So we may not truly see what they're capable of doing just because of the chemistry aspect. Let's go talk to them, learn their play style a little bit. There's so many ways to play the game of soccer. You put 11 people on a field together and they're playing 3 different styles of soccer. They could be the most skilled players, but it looks ugly.
Now, what I did see so far with the Beef is they had a preseason game. They brought in a team from somewhere around here. Is there going to be a possibility of you guys having a scrimmage versus like the Union? Is that something? I mean, I don't know where the levels fall or where it's a matter of it's even in their interest. But to me, my goal, if I was them or any of you guys, the more you guys promote each other, the more this soccer can take off in the local area.
Yeah, no, I think I can answer that.
Yeah,
one
that's definitely your question.
Taylor is actually working with Union to hopefully get us a scrimmage game with them before we start our season. So yeah, that's in the works.
When does the season actually start? You said in fall. Do you know?
No, because they haven't announced it. Pretty much.
Oh, it comes from them.
Yeah, it comes from them. So right now they're waiting on the new teams, obviously including us. Like Brian stated earlier, we don't know if they're going to make another conference for the new teams that are registering, or they're just going to put us in existing conferences and then they announce it. So that's how that works. So we have to unfortunately wait.
And touching on the weather you brought up earlier, the fall season this past fall just ended in February. So let's play outdoor November through February in Nebraska. So I think they're still the league is still trying to piece together how can, in the Midwest region, we play a fall season and then still participate with, nationally the championship
Yeah.
rounds.
Okay. Travel, stuff like that. Is it on the players? What is all, or is that all kind of still getting worked out on the backside?
That's a Taylor question.
Okay.
I know he's still figuring that out, but usually that's the team takes care of that for the most part.
Gotcha.
That they just bring their money to like buy food or whatever the hell they want to buy.
I gotcha.
Like a shirt from out of town or postcard.
Yeah, I mean the ultimate goal is to make it, the least expensive as possible for the players.
For sure.
Yeah.
We'll trying to set it up to where we provide uniforms, we provide travel, we're providing, the 3 normal meals a day while we're traveling.
Mhm.
Extra expenses, of course, is on the players.
So as far as the UPSL, what all have you guys had contact with? Have you been to some games? Have you ever really seen what the atmosphere is like at even their tournament games? Have you any of you guys been to any of that experience?
I've been watching a handful through their streams. I watched most of the final games they were based in California, so not traveling out to watch those. I know, weird. California, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, as far as what contact you guys have had with the league,
I mean, just with the people that are in charge of registering the team, and that's where we're at. Unfortunately, they're also backed up because of weather. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. I mean, it's not much.
Now, when it came to this league, what made you get to decide this league? Did they come to you? Did you guys? Do you know any of that part of the aspect?
No, I don't even know.
I don't know either.
That's all right.
That's
all right.
Definitely a Taylor question.
That's why I was wondering,
That's a
because
good
obviously,
question.
just like where the and like you said, the fall league is going to be hard all the way up until February. When you think of starting something from the ground like this, Brian, and you think of what your vision is, what do you have in mind if you had to look at Brian in 3 years with what so far?
It's a good question. Yeah, I really usually don't think that far ahead. I try to go day by day and season by season.
But of course, like, I mean, if you're really trying to make this premier thing something, I mean, you're not starting off where you're just picking up and playing against, a team on a Sunday,
Not
right?
just local teams.
Yeah, it's not just local teams.
It's for me, it's structure. We originally had the idea to start in the spring. We got a couple weeks into conversation and it was like, guys, we're rushing it. Like, the structure is not there. We're not able to answer basic questions. We need to push it off to the fall, right? If the leadership group isn't structured, we're not going to be able to provide anything to these players.
Correct.
So, I mean, for me, it comes down to that. It's just the structure of it.
Well, I do appreciate you guys coming out. Let them know how they can find, obviously, your guys' club on social media, when the tryouts are, where they're at, so they can get that information. And then after that, I actually had some people ask a couple questions on the Wired In segment, which I'll have my host or my producer come ask those questions. But how can they find you, and when's the tryouts if they haven't signed up?
Yeah, so you guys can find us at Facebook, just CB Captains Football Club. Tryouts will be at Norris Middle School, May 24th from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. That's the first day. Second day is May 25th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And then the third day is the 26th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Trials registration is on our Facebook page as well. It's pinned. So it's as soon as you open up our page, boom, right there. You just fill out the form and follow the instructions it tells you and fill it out and get it done.
Any cap on the total number of people for tryouts?
No.
All right.
No.
All right. Well, we'll welcome Brandon Tiedemann in here to ask these couple questions.
All right. So the first one is when you
Brandon, we can't hear you. My bad. Got to open that door.
I do got to do that.
It's okay.
It's usually how this works. I'll ask 2 of these.
Okay.
In your opinion, what are the most important qualities for creating a semi-pro team? And how should these qualities be organized for the UPSL league?
Yeah, I mean, I think I touched on that a little bit ago, is structure. The biggest quality is structure. If as a coach, I don't have a structured practice plan for each and every single practice, it's a waste of time. Leadership, if we don't know what each other's doing, then it's a waste of time for the whole organization.
All right. What else you got there?
When you look back at your experience with the game of soccer, if you could switch it with one sport and have some similar success, what sport would that be and why?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a good one. I would say I actually did it for a little bit. It would be martial arts. For about 6 years, I stopped playing soccer and focused on jiu-jitsu and kickboxing.
What made you want to do that?
I don't know. I was working at Builder Supply at the time. We had a new hire that I was training. He trained in jiu-jitsu and talked me to come joining.
And you liked it from there.
I fell in love with it. Yeah, I mean, it's individual sport is different than team sport. You can't look to the person next to you and say, "Why did we fail?" You have to go to the mirror and look at yourself and say, "Why did I fail?" Yeah.
Adrian, how about yourself? Obviously, you've been around soccer for so long.
I think I would go the Happy Gilmore way, golf.
Golf?
Yeah, because that seems fun to me.
Now, did either of you play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, growing up, I pretty much played everything.
Was it dad the reason that you fell in love with soccer, or was it like you're just self? Sometimes it's, that's some people don't even realize.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, probably some of the dad influence was the soccer. I mean, that was I think the only sport he played.
Okay.
But growing up, I mean, baseball in the summer, soccer, football
stayed in the routine,
fall, wrestling in the winter.
See, I think that's what people forget about any sport, right? The routine, the regularness, right? I know I got practice at this time, I got game at this time. I like being able to continue that onto another level. So if you are a high school player that is graduating this year, you can check them out.
Yeah.
If you're a kid that's in college, you can check them out. If you're not at college, that's okay. But you love soccer, make sure to check out the CB Captains Football Club. Like they said, you can find them on social media. Facebook right now is the way to go. It's super easy. They have the tryouts pinned out. Check them out. They'll be next month in the month of May. And once again, remember, we watched the Omaha Supernovas, who started similar to what they started, except for they were pro volleyball. But these teams around us are all looking for athletes like yourself or your son or daughter. Make sure to reach out to any of them. If you feel you can qualify to play at a higher level than what you might be playing at this time, or you have the qualities and they can help you get to the level you want to get to. Once again, they said it loud and proud. This is a stepping stone to whatever you want. You just have to put in the time. Once again, DJ K-Dub Omaha with Wired Access, Hurrdat Production. Thank you.